When I was in my mid-30s, I have this memory of one morning looking at the mirror in the bathroom and thinking, I can't live like this anymore. And I had to make some decisions. I started going in therapy, and there was one particular question that I hadn't seen coming that actually set off my whole transformation process. I will tell you about that question, what it did to me, a bit about the process. In the end, I will tell you exactly how that changed my everyday life. I had what appeared to be a good, normal life. I had a good job, I had my husband, I had 2 kids, and in many ways had a good life, on the outside at least. But on the inside, I really felt that I had lost myself. It had been creeping in on me through years, but I reached like a point of culmination. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I felt. I didn't know what I meant about anything. I felt so undefined and so unaligned and inauthentic. I had a really low self-esteem, and I am sure that people around me thought that I was like this strong person who had a good job, and I had a lot of power to do this and that, and I was maybe also a bit loud and colorful and speaking my mind, but not really. It wasn't aligned with how I felt inside. Because I was saying and doing the things that I thought was necessary to fit in, to be good enough. I never felt good enough. I was a secret smoker. I was drinking a bit too much wine, kind of survival mode. And I had a family with strong personalities, and typically we would be arguing about the big questions of life, you know, when we met for dinners, and I always felt defeated. I always went home feeling defeated, feeling not good enough. It felt like it was battles, and it was about winning the battles. It was about winning the arguments. And it was so hard for me, not just in the family, but in a whole lot of settings, to say what I meant or felt about anything, because it was so integrated in me that I had to have a lot of backup words to go into an argument to kind of win the argument. But I never won any arguments. I always got wounded. And I didn't know how to do it otherwise. That was the dynamic that lived inside of me. And so I've always felt insecure with authorities and with within my own family, and with a lot of people, actually. But anyway, I had been trying for so many years to fit in, and my first step was that I went into therapy, and that felt really vulnerable, because my belief system said that we don't do therapy in my family. That's for weak people. Actually, I didn't really feel that myself. I was attracted to doing that kind of thing. it kind of made sense, but I was afraid of being judged. So again, it was shameful for me to admit that I went into therapy. So my first really hard thing to do was to book a therapy lesson, and also to admit to my family that I was going into therapy. It was so out of my comfort zone to be vulnerable or to admit vulnerability. Even though after all typical arguments at the dinner table and stuff, I would go home crying and spend like 3 days to repair my wounds every time. And I'm sure they never meant any harm. It was just the dynamic. And that's how it affected me. Other people would think, oh, that's really exciting that we can talk about, world issues and politics and who is right and who is wrong. But it was very black and white, and it really didn't work for me. And in my foundation, I had this really low self-esteem. I had an intense longing for feeling alignment within myself. I had an urge to reconnect with myself, to find meaning in my life, to grow as a person, and to find everyday happiness, to walk into the world, letting people see my true colors and feeling comfortable with that. And I couldn't in my head grasp how that would ever be possible. I thought my brain and my issues were so complex that it would be an impossible task to ever untangle all that entangled patterns. But I will tell you what happened when I went into therapy, and I had not seen that coming. What happened when I started reconnecting with myself was it really, really became the spark that set off my whole transformation process and ended up step by step changing my entire life. This is a bit more than 20 years ago, and my life is so different today. I have such a wonderful life today, and I feel so aligned with what I feel, and I feel so safe sharing with the world who I am. It feels so natural for me to communicate with other people, letting them see who I am, and that's truly a wonderful feeling. I really feel I'm me. I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm really comfortable in my skin today. Not saying that I don't have any issues. I believe we all have things that we can work on for life. That's the deal. That's the part of being human. And today I'm so into personal growth. It's not that my entire life is wrapped around that, but it's really part of who I am. If I have an issue, I will take a look at it. I will deal with it. I will shine light on it and see what it wants to tell me and how I can unfold and grow. For me, it's like, when you take the car to the mechanics for the yearly service check or whatever, we can do that as human beings. I do that as a human being. I do it anytime I need it, without the slightest bit of shame. It makes so much sense. Anyway, when I first came into therapy and I was trying to share with the therapist how I felt, I think I said something like, I really don't know who the F I am anymore. I I don't know what I feel or think about anything. I just feel so lost, and I really hate that feeling. And I really want to get to the bottom of this and turn my life around. I want to be me. I want to be able to show the world who I am. And she asked me, how do you feel that? And I tried to explain. It's really annoying. I don't like it. It's frustrating. And she would be like, how do you feel it in your body? Yeah, but I hate it. I don't like it. It's really annoying. That was the typical words I would use. And she would keep on going like, but how do you feel it in your body? And I would, in my mind, think, but I just told her. What does she mean? Why does she keep asking me? And then after a while, she would say, okay, when I ask you how you feel it in your body, it's not because I don't want to listen to your story. It's because as human beings, we are often very much in our head. It's like from the chin down, it doesn't exist. Nothing exists. We are in our minds all the time, trying to calculate, trying to work things out, trying to be fast and efficient and understand everything, analyze everything. But to actually change and integrate it into your life, you must reconnect with your body, because it's in your body that the feelings live, the thoughts live in the head, the feelings live in the body, and you have to reconnect to actually find out what you feel and who you are, and start living from that place further down. Let's do another thing, she said. Close your eyes, make yourself comfortable, and tell me what you feel in your body. Not necessarily connected to anything in your story or whatever. Just tell me right now, with your eyes closed. Be curious. Don't judge anything. Just tell me like what you sense. What are your sensations? Like warm and cold, or something itchy, or anything you feel in your body. So I started doing that. This became like a thing that we did every time I had a therapy lesson. Not that I had to spend the whole hour sitting, feeling sensations in my body, but when I was talking about something that I was feeling, when I was talking about something I was feeling, she would always bring me down into my body. Where do you feel it in your body? And I started learning something magical that changed my life. After a while, I could say, I get goosebumps. I feel I shrink. My skin crawls. It makes me cold. I feel a knot in my stomach. I feel a burning sensation in my chest. I feel my throat tensing up. I feel it feels like I have a helmet on my head, or I feel there's a lot of room in my body. I feel peace that is like an expansion, like a warmth around my heart. I feel I get warm and fuzzy Or other times it's like I can't feel my feet. I feel numb. My legs are cold. All this kind of sensation and all the different kinds of sensations in my body were connected to different feelings. So I started having this alignment between body sensations, feelings, and thoughts. So my usual way of being me in the world was trying to work everything out in my brain. And when I was in different situations with the outer world, with my boss or with family or whatever, I would try to analyze and argument the battles that I could never win. But now I started to learn to be me in a whole nother different way. So now I will tell you how this changed my entire life. Because this changed my way of communicating with the outer world. When I was in situations that I was used to being really cornered, feeling really cornered, and really vulnerable, I would say, this doesn't sit right with me. I don't feel that way. This makes me a bit sad. Stuff like that. When I share with someone how I feel, no one can argue against that. It's not a battle anymore, and it's definitely not a battle that I can lose, because what I feel is what I feel. You can't debate on it. That's just me. It gave me a whole nother foundation to stand on, both in the argumentative positions that I knew so well and disliked so much, but really in all situations in life, it changed my inner dynamic completely because I was aligned with how I felt. So my compass was not analytic. My compass was from my true inner self. So it was really a discovery in finding out who I was, how I felt, and what I meant about things. It was a massive gift that I am to this day so very grateful for. And it ended up changing the whole dynamic in how we were together in family settings. It started becoming really pleasant with a lot more warmth and connection. And I love being with my whole family today. And I'm not afraid of talking to authorities or other people. And in my whole discovery process of personal growth through therapy and a whole lot of other things that followed in the years after, I came to know all the different parts inside of me, which also made me a person who sees other people with less judgment. And it changed my entire dynamic as how I am in the world, how I am in my family, and how I am with other people, how I am with myself. Yeah. I ended up becoming a psychotherapist myself many, many years ago, and I did work with clients for 7, 8 years after that. I passed that on to other people and saw the value it added in their lives also. So it's a deep experience within me that reconnecting with the body is something that connects people with each other in a whole nother way. I believe if we start at home through personal growth to reconnect with ourselves, reconnect mind and body, it makes us able to connect with other people in a much deeper way, in a much more profound and meaningful way that really benefits everyday happiness. Thank you very much for listening. And oh, by the way, if you want to see my video about being a secret smoker, or my video about being scared of driving my camper van, and how I worked myself through that, see the video coming up after this one. Thank you very much for listening.